So new face today. Chris Jansen is on leave. He's back tomorrow. So I've got the expert in the topic that we're going to be discussing today. And as Rob has said earlier, could talk about this for half a day. So welcome to Rob from sunny Busselton in Western Australia.
Thanks, Tony. Excited to be here for this session.
Yeah, so go on.
I was just going to say, this is one of the sessions that just gets me fired up because my background, I've been in real estate for about 23 years. The last 15, 16 years have been in management, sales management, helping people with KPIs, all the stuff that makes a lot of agents cringe. And watching what works and doesn't work. I've seen agents come in to a session like this, and then you can just see the light bulb go on, and boom, they're gone. They're off. Their mind is racing. The energy levels are up. The dreams are high, and so I'm just looking forward to this session.
Yeah, so for those that have seen the advertising for this session and the marketing that we've done up to now, this session is about a planning session for 2025. And I remember we used to be every January, we'd get together in the boardroom and go through the types of topics that we're going to talk about today. For most of our agents, all the XP agents, we're all working from home on our own, so we're not part of an office environment. We don't have bosses, and we are reliant upon our own self-motivation and our own planning to get these things done. But it's far, far better if we're doing it with a group. And here we are in a group today with us and everyone else that's attending at the moment. You're in a group, and whether you watch it now, you're here now, or you're here watching recordings, you get the feeling of a group. We're all working together. We're all got the same sort of goals and aspirations in our lives. Are all very similar, but we've got different numbers and we're at different stages of our careers, and we just gives you an opportunity to go through this slowly. Rob and I are going to run through it as a big picture today. The document I'm going to share, you're going to have the links, you're going to have everything that we talk about today. You'll be given in the recording attachments or in an email that you'll get tomorrow. So there's nothing that we talk about today or the content that you won't get to then sit down in your own quiet time and work through these topics that we're going to discuss.
That sounds good. Tony, is it all right if I just give a little bit of a preamble,
Certainly.
a pre-frame? So when I'm thinking about this topic, I'm imagining wherever you are, you're in your car, you're in your office, whatever, you're listening to this session, you're watching the replay, whatever. And so many of you will have done this type of a planning session before, and you might actually be thirsty for it, but you also might be already checked out, ready for the holidays. I know that people will be in different camps. And you might already think, well, I already know that. I already know that. And I was just thinking about the other day, jumping on a plane, the pilot might be flying from Sydney to Perth, and that might be their route. They do it every day. They fly one way, they go back, they go there. But every single time, they got a plan, they got a checklist, they go through that to prepare for a safe flight. And that's what we want to do today. And in doing that, I want to start with a perhaps controversial statement in that a confused mind makes no decisions and takes no action. So if you look around the people you know in the industry that perhaps aren't traveling as well as what they would like to, it's simply a matter that they have a confused mind. They're not sure what is the next step. They're not sure where the holes are in their business and the way they approach it. So we're going to cover off on some of that stuff today. I want to start first by just talking a little bit about the concept of your big rocks and making sure you have your big rocks in line. If you're not sure about what we mean by big rocks, please YouTube Stephen Covey Big Rocks demonstration. It's about taking those key components of your world Your family, your faith, your finances, your fitness, the friendships you have, the fun you want to have, making sure they are wrapped in stone in your calendar, where you're going to prioritize those things so that you can fit the rest of things that you need to do for your business around those. We work in such a wonderful industry that we don't need to miss kids' school sports. We don't need to miss birthdays. If you design your business correctly, you will always be able to show up for your family. And you just set that as your intention and it will happen. So first of all, I just wanted to have that as a pre-frame. Set your big rocks first. I was saying to Tony yesterday when we were just discussing this, your real estate career is here to fuel your life. It is not your life. And in a previous career, I had the privilege and the challenge of doing a lot of funerals. I was the one speaking at the funerals, and never once, when the family was gathered around the casket or in the setting, never once did I hear anyone say, "Geez, I wish that guy could have worked some more. I wish he could have done, more stuff." Don't forget what life's all about. We want you to have a powerful and wonderful and just an amazing life, and that's why we are doing it by design. So, Tony, we might move back to your schedule if you're ready to share that, and then we can
Sure.
move through that.
Well, one of the things I just want to first share, and we had an incredible amount of downloads of the. Can never find it when you want to share it, can you?
That's okay.
You know how it is when you're trying
Yeah.
to share.
We've got a publication. If you haven't got this in your hands yet, be sure to reach out to us, or we'll make it available to you.
This one, if you can see it, Rob.
Yep, we can.
Okay,
Crush your
so
goals.
this document went out in a email mail out last week. I think there's been nearly 1,000 downloads of the document. So it's one of the ones that we're going to go through. You are going to get a link to it, no question about that. But it's one of the ones we're going to go through, just some of the information in it. I'm going to share the document that is a little bit just our agenda for today. So I'm going to share that. So can you see my agenda there, Rob?
Definitely can. We're ready to rock and roll.
Cool. I can't, which is really the disconcerting thing when you're sharing screens.
Yeah, that is. But yeah, so this is a comprehensive business planning guide for real estate agents. And you'll get a copy of this. Tony has been able to. We're back onto the. We're off the agenda now, Tony. We're back into the book screen. But Tony's put together some resources there, which you'll get that you can click through, and just be additional resources for you as you are making your plans for 2025. I hope 2024 has been an ideal dream year for you in your real estate business, and we just want to help you build with intention into 2025.
Okay, sorry, I was just getting it on my screen straight in front of me rather than looking left and right.
For what you don't know, Tony has 3 screens. He's like the visual. He's like flight control for this session. So it's wonderful.
It is all happening.
Yeah. So Tony, I'm interested in your feedback as we move through this. Just talk us through what you're seeing here in goal setting for life.
Yeah, so the first thing there is, and the first point, talk about reflecting on 2024. So, looking back at that year and making our goals, that align with what happened in this year and what we're going to be able to move forward to do into next year. We talk about learning there. There's a video I've posted there from Mike Sherrard. So that's something for us to watch in a minute in your own time. Talking there about branding, so developing a content calendar. We did a session probably 6 weeks ago now on planning that content, so the link to that's there. And then making that contact, the actual physical contact and what it is. And I've linked a session we did with Glenn Catino last year, or early this year, feels like years ago, that was just explosive to get a little bit of an idea of what's possible. We'll talk about balancing your time, other income stream, what other opportunities are out there, and certainly those within EXP understand what's available in our rev share model, and then just what other global opportunities are out there. So getting into actual goals, and I always sat down every year, as I said, and wrote down at least 5 goals for each area of my life, and my colleagues did the same, and I invite you to do this. A goal written down is far, far more powerful than one that isn't. And I can tell you that I used to write them in the back of my notebook, and I get a new notebook every year. And the next year on, I'd have that old notebook and I'd be opening my new one, and I'd look back at those goals, and we had the exercise of ticking them off. And it is incredible, the power of going back and ticking off those goals. It is the most satisfying thing when you look back. And look, you might have had 20 goals written down across all areas. I doubt you're going to get 20. But if you got 12, 14, typically we're writing down goals that are big shifts in our life. They're not just a goal to remember to take the bins out every week. There's something they're probably something a little bit more significant. So
My wife
ticking
wishes
those
I
off-
had that as a goal.
It might need that one. But ticking these off, and I'm going to go through some examples, but ticking these off is an incredibly powerful thing.
Yeah, and what I love about that is that the more that you can make that writing of your goals tactile. I know we're in a digital age and everyone's got the computer, their phone, and all that kind of stuff, but there is a lot of research and science behind handwriting your goals on paper. It does something in your brain. It actually uses a different process than typing. It actually is a creative exercise, and you are, depending on your belief structures and how the world operates, and you're actually creating what that event is, and then your reticular activating system of your brain can go and find that result, and it will help you along the way. I know it sounds a bit woo-woo, but there is a lot of psychology behind that.
And I don't subscribe to the woo-woo, but I can tell you the buzz that you get when you're ticking off a goal and the writing of it down, the challenge of writing it down and thinking, shivers, I've written it now. I've got to do it. I want to do it. I've written it down because it's something I want to achieve. But especially when they're a big, hairy goal,
Yeah.
the really big ones, writing them down is challenging and scary at the same time. Achieving them is incredible. So just a basic example here. So professional goals, we're talking about our careers, income, transactions, things like that. And I've written an example here, and you can see on the right-hand side in the comments, and the comments will stay here on this document when you receive the document. So it says the goals are SMART. So the goal is specific. So the number of transactions, settle 12 property transactions. It's measurable, so we're going to be able to look back and see whether we did that. It's achievable, so we don't want to say I'm going to settle 500 transactions in the next 6 months. That's probably, we talked a bit before about looking back at last year. How many did you do? What's possible? What growth can I have into the next year? And irrelevant, as I say, aligned with business growth and time bound. So we've got 6 months here, settling 12 properties in 6 months, talking about increasing lead generation efforts, conducting 10 prospect calls daily, and attending 1 local networking event. So it's a pretty detailed, rounded goal, talking about the activities that are required in order to achieve this goal in that time frame. So SMART, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. I think most people here today will probably have heard about SMART goals. It's a very old method, but one that keeps the goal in the main realistic and achievable. That's the main thing.
It's kind of like a property condition. If you're selling a house, at least in Western Australia, the agents can create conditions, and they've got to be specific, who's responsible, when it's got to be done by, and those kind of things. Having a SMART goal is really, really well. or it's really something that we should be working towards. And I would juxtapose that as well as I've researched more into personal development over the last 12 to 24 months. You have your goals, and then as James Clear taught us in the book Atomic Habits, which I highly recommend you read or at least watch YouTube video on it, the habits is what helps you get to the goal. You know, it's working those things out. It's kind of two levers of success.
So afterwards, my invitation for you is to go and probably not have that one, but to write down, 5 goals in your profession that speak to you. The next example there, next area of our life, financial, and you can see a little bit of a prompt: savings, investments, debt reduction. So these are the things that are personal to us. They're not your targets for your GCI, your financial goals. These are your own targets. An example there: save $20,000 over the next 12 months.
Your screen's not scrolling for us, Tony, just so you're aware.
Can you see that point 1 there?
I can see point one. Yep.
Still on the other screen. See,
yeah, there we go.
Just didn't work.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring the whole window across. That'll fix it. Okay.
So we're dealing with professional goals. We're dealing with financial goals. We're dealing with personal goals. We're doing all of those things that really prompt our minds to design an ideal life. And that's what we're going for.
Yeah, so another one there is an example, a financial goal, and it's a savings goal. Next section of our lives, personal goals. So these are around, you can see the prompts there around your family, your relationships, hobbies, education, and personal development. I've written an example one there you can see on screen, again, being quite specific, measurable, realistic.
And these are your big rocks that we were talking about.
Yeah.
How do we get our big rocks in there?
Fitness, mental health, wellness. So this is something that's very, very important for real estate agents. And this may include things like time off, not just physical health. I think we've all written down, I want to lose 5 kilos or whatever it may be in the past. But being a little bit more specific about how you're going to get there, how you're going to do that. Starving yourself is probably one way of getting there, but not possibly not the right way. So fitness and mental health goals. Can you see me scrolling there, Rob?
I can't see you scrolling, but I can see personal goals. Yes.
Okay.
There we go. Yep.
Okay. Let me just bring that. Make sure I can.
And as Tony's getting that set up, sometimes when we talk about this stuff, it's like we're talking in silos, like, okay, so here's the fitness health silo, here's the real estate silo, here's the family silo, whatever it is. We all know we're just a rolled up ball of all of these things interchanging. Some people are more structured with a calendar, some people are or whatever, but one of the things that I've been coaching agents in the last 6 months with that I've been hearing a lot of is sometimes when agents miss the mark with some of this stuff, they're incredibly harsh on themselves. And so I just asked you, as you move through this, you set your goals, you create your habits and all that, have some grace to yourself, have some love for yourself, and don't be too harsh. Hold yourself to account, but you are a person and you are a human and you're trying to make your way through so many different aspects of this. We're moving into prospecting activities.
So now we've talked about our goals in our life. Now we're getting back to work and talking about how we're going to, what we're going to do with our real estate lives and what targets we have for different areas. So real estate, as we all know, this is all about prospecting. We want to list and sell properties. We can't do that without prospecting. This is by no means an exhaustive list of prospecting activities, and it's certainly not a list of all the compulsory ones. There are ones here that you won't do in your marketplace, but these are ideas for you to have a look at and create targets for, weekly, monthly targets, so that you can carry out these activities in the interest of them turning into listings.
Yes.
So,
This goes under the umbrella that Brian Tracy made famous. People do business with people they know, like, and trust. I'm always, with the agents that I work with, I'm always hammering that in, because you think about mom and dad sitting at home thinking, got a job transfer, got to sell the house. Who are we going to call?
mm.
Who do we know? That's the first stage. And that's
And
what this is all about, getting known.
yeah, the sphere of influence outreach, this first point. So I have a lot of agents that say to me, especially if they're starting real estate, where do I start? What can I do? How can I get more listings? Even experienced agents that, how do I get more listings? This is the one. This is the first thing I always say. You know, does everyone you know you're a real estate agent? Everyone in your phone. If I pick up my phone, I've got 2,000 contacts in my phone. That's 2,000 people that need to know what I do for a business. And so this is the first thing. Before you start knocking on doors and things, I think this is the easiest thing to do. These people know you, as Rob was just mentioning, know, like, and trust you, hopefully. So however it is you communicate with them, certainly to get that done. Next prompts here, droppers or mail outs. You know, these could be direct mail letters, Christmas cards. We just wrote 500 handwritten Christmas cards. Now, my wife and I have worked together in real estate. 500 cards went out over the last 2 weeks. We're getting phone calls. We've got listing appraisals. We've got listings coming from 500 handwritten cards. It was a fair effort.
It was a fair effort.
Not only writing the card, you're writing the
Yeah.
envelope, you're putting the stamp on. I had the job of putting the stamps on. That was bad enough.
Yeah.
But this is, you know, handwritten letters, handwritten notes, cards.
Can we just stop for a second, Tony? Why is that so effective? Because no one else is doing it.
No one.
No,
I went
it's
to the post office and asked for 500 stamps. The lady looked at us, going, "What for?" Because we asked for Christmas card stamps. They're obviously, you know, the sheets like this.
They're like,
because
is
they're
this the most
65
popular
cents.
person in the world?
65-cent stamps. You can only use them for Christmas cards.
Right.
And
Okay.
the lady at the post office was dumbfounded as to why we wanted 500 of them. And
Yeah.
they're all gone. I've got 2 envelopes left to post.
Yeah.
And
So
that,
good.
you know, that's a plan. And then this comes back to planning. You know, this is a plan you've got to make in September,
Yeah.
October,
Yeah.
to get a proof. You know, order them through Printforce. We've all used them.
Yeah.
Get the proof, get them delivered, write them.
So let's say that whole exercise took you 10 hours and it took you $1,000 for the cards, the stamps, the whatever else, let's say, right?
That was about the cost, yes.
Yeah. And so you've got 500 people. You've just gone to the top of the shopping list for 500 people. And if you're thinking that 1 to 3% are thinking about a move in the next 6 to 12 months, you know, that's 15 people. You secure 30% of that. It's 5 listings, whatever your commissions are. It's a well worthwhile exercise.
Yeah, that's, you know, as we
This is
talk
back
about,
to what we were talking about
know,
at the start.
talk about commissions and things in a minute, but
Yeah.
if they're $10,000 each, it's a $50,000 bank
Yeah.
from that 10 hours work. You know, that's just one activity. But, you know, droppers, mail outs, the next point there on the list, email campaigns. So now we're talking about electronic, whether it be email, could be SMS campaigns, just making a plan for those. And if you've watched that session we talked about at the start of today, from a couple of months ago, where we talked about getting a plan, getting a calendar for this, all these things go into that calendar.
Yeah. And
All
have it
those-
visual someplace in your office or wherever it is that you know, I know that people love to be in their digital calendars, but there's so many of us that are visually oriented. So with your goals, have your vision boards, but also your marketing calendars, your content calendars, visual. So you can, you know, you're sitting there, you're thinking about, oh, an appointment canceled. Let me look up at my calendar. Oh, what could I actually advance? What could I be doing now so that I can streamline and make good use of my time?
So just to run through the remainder of these, local sponsorships and events, what can you do in relation to that? How many can you do? Whether they're put on by you or you've just, we had a local street fair last Saturday, and there were real estate agents that had a little booth. So I probably cost them $50. And they're
Yeah.
there for the day, handing out cards, talking to people. Fantastic. I've done it in the mall, at the local shopping centres. We've done raffles where we've been in the malls. Everything works to some degree. What works for you? Think about different activities. If your year this year is not what you thought it, not what you would have liked it to be, what activities are you going to change? What are you going to add and subtract in order to make it the year you want it to be? Calls to clients. That's an obvious one, but it's who you're calling, how many you're calling, having them ticked off, making the notes as you go. Door knocking, controversial one. It's in there because it's a prospecting activity. As I said earlier,
It's
not all
all
of these are compulsory.
it's also a pathway not everyone's prepared to go up. So you
Uh,
won't meet a lot of, you will not ever, I've never had it, you will never meet another agent door knocking in your patch. It's unlikely.
no, but we have agents. Chris, I know, is one of them who's
Yeah.
incredibly successful in door
Yeah.
knocking. That's his thing. So, what works for you in your market, go right ahead.
Well, and just a step into his brief story. English, not his first language, came from door knocking for one of the telcos or whatnot, moved to real estate. His family's whole world is changed. Like it's just
Yeah, and
amazing to watch.
joined us as an inexperienced, no experience. Came under the wing of our Adelaide team and is now, kicking major goals.
Oh, he's just crushing it. So cool to watch.
Social media, here's one that we've done many sessions on, and to look back at our business by design sessions around social media, and there'll be more next year because we're learning more and more things. Just having a plan for it. Probably we're all guilty of looking up our Facebook page and going, oh, better do a post. Haven't done one for 3 weeks. Better put a post up. I sold a house, or I listed something.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah,
if you're in that world, it's to organise that. There
yeah,
are tools available that you can sit down, spend an hour or two, and put 30 days of posts into these tools. I'm using Hootsuite this morning for the first time, where you can program tools out. You can use Meta to do that. The
yeah.
free tools or within Facebook, for Facebook and Instagram, those types of things. Networking. So one that we don't probably do as much as we used to. Barry Feldman, one of our agents, is a BNI member, incredibly successful BNI member. Sold a $19 million property from a referral that he got from a BNI breakfast.
Yep.
Banked an amount of money that I'll leave you all to
Was
have.
good.
Was good.
Was good.
I think changed his life, but and still going to BNI every week, every
Yeah.
month, or however
Yeah,
often.
we've
There are.
got some in our WA crew that are members of BNI, and majority of their business comes from that. They just and it's just a walk up. This is an area that I really never have dug into in my business, but I'll see others doing it, and I think, well, Rob, you're not really that smart. You should have gone and done some of these things. It's so much better when you go, hey, my cousin Jenny wants to sell. Can you pop over and see her? It's
Yeah,
such
when
a
you're at these events, it's quite informal a lot of the time. I know Ellen
yeah,
Ravello gets involved with the Probus Group.
yeah,
I used to be involved with breakthrough events
yeah.
in Melbourne with Gary Schuller back in the day.
Again,
It's
it's just
great.
about people doing business who they know, like, and trust, and,
That's it.
you're there, and they know you, and you got street cred.
You go out, you sit in a fancy cafe or restaurant or golf club or something for breakfast, and you have a chat with, 10 or 20 or so like-minded small business owners, and what can come of that can be quite powerful.
Yeah,
Last one on the list, and not the last thing, that's for certain, but open for inspection. So to make sure you're leveraging your open houses and just having a target for as many open houses as you can do, as many people as you can meet in those open houses.
and if you treat open houses as like a pop-up stall, those are quite common in the malls now. Oh, this company's doing a pop-up stall. Your home opens are really your pop-up stalls in your marketplace. You can You can have the look and feel that you want. You can make them as fancy or as simple as you want, but it is a place where you're going to meet people in your community. And what a fantastic opportunity if that's your vibe.
And as Rick Rushton once, one of my first mentor in real estate, Rick Rushton, back in 1997, I went to his coaching, Starting with the Edge, the program was called. And the big takeaway from it was open for inspections were to meet vendors, not to sell houses,
Yeah.
and to meet people who would like an appraisal and were thinking of selling. That's why you're there. Selling the house was a bonus, but that was the teachings that I got very early in my career and implemented throughout my whole career. And certainly open houses have been gold for me over the time that I've been selling real estate. Okay, next section, we talk about learning and growth and setting goals for these different areas in relation to real estate. So you can see there, training sessions. So if you're here, you can tick that one off already. If you're watching it later, big tick. So what webinars, workshops, courses, training can you attend? You know, this session is free for all agents in the country every fortnight. You know, you're welcome here. To come back next year, we'll be holding them every fortnight. They'll be real estate specific and as cutting edge as we can make them. So training sessions, education, and this is a bit more talking about formal education. So those of you out there that might have a Class 2 license or, you know, what we call in Melbourne an agent's reps, going ahead and doing the certificate for, going further and doing the diploma. What can you do that will improve your knowledge? I know I did my full license back in 2001, and I still, back then it was a little bit different. It was a lot of exams, and there's no exams anymore. They've all got it easy now. But what I learned,
Depending on what state you're in,
perhaps. But what I learned by reading and studying the Estate Agents Act, the Sale of Land Act, things like this, gave me knowledge that you don't get in the field, but you're able to apply. And certainly the knowledge I gained from that formal education, I still use today.
and you only need that to come in to play once in your career, where it gives you the leverage, the advantage over somebody else, where you go, I got this deal done because of the knowledge that I got from seeking the extra education.
That's it. And now I'm in a role, I'm licensee in Victoria because I've got the knowledge to, you know, manage the compliance for our agents, and getting that knowledge back there in 2001. Next one there, industry events. So I know we all talk about, we all like to go to different things, whether it's AREC or RISE or the different things that are on in each state. We are going to be putting on a conference in every state, in all 5 states next year, and in 5 cities in New Zealand next year. So there's no shortage of conferences to attend. Lots of them are $100 or $200. They're not expensive. We hope to give an enormous amount of valuable takeaway in the ones that we host. I know that there's tons of great takeaway in many of the ones I've been to, and a lot of those popular ones that are out there. So get along to, you know, if you're not getting to 2 or 3 of these a year, I just don't think you're serious about the industry. You should be at least getting along to a couple.
It's like recharging your phone, you know, like people go, oh, I'm just feeling a bit burnt out, or I'm just feeling a bit this. Get amongst other people, lift your energy, you know. Jim Rohn, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Well, if you're in an area, you're in an environment where everyone's like, woe is me, it's all horrible and whatever, move, get yourself to one of these events where there's energy, there's positivity, you're learning new technologies, new scripts, new dialogues, new approaches, new mindsets. It's all just so powerful and life changing. You come away refreshed. It'd be amazing. And if you do happen to come to one of our events next year, Tony might be there, I might be there, Chris might be there, depending on what. We'd love to say hello. We'd love to connect with you. We'd love to just hear your story, where you're at in your career, what you're up to. So don't be afraid to come and say good day.
Awesome. Yeah, we certainly look forward to meeting people next year at these events. Last but on the list, and by no means an exhaustive list, reading, you know, reading, whether it's books, magazines about the industry, or just self-improvement, whether it's the emails we get every morning from a lead agent or REB, these types of things. There's content there that's very valuable to have a browse over. I know I don't read them every day, but when I get a pause in a moment, they come pretty early in the morning. And, if you just gaining that knowledge, getting the self-improvement, you'll pick up things every day from reading these different emails.
Can I give some book recommendations in this slot? If you probably have already read all these books, so they're in your library. They should be in your library, or at least you would have read them. But I want to give you several book recommendations to put on your Christmas wish list if you haven't read them or ordered them from Amazon. So Atomic Habits by James Clear, awesome. The One Thing by Gary Keller, awesome. If you are mesmerized by too many options in your business, read that book. The Go Giver, that's a great book about just a whole philosophy of life when it comes to sales and business. You got to make sure you've read through or go back and reread Stephen Covey's book, The 7 Habits of Highly Successful People. I know it's old. If you're a younger agent, you probably have never even heard of that book, but go back and review it. There's so much wisdom and knowledge there. And the last book I was going to recommend for you is Simon Sinek, Why, where he gets you to think about what is the whole purpose of what you're doing. Those 5 book recommendations, hope that you get to experience some of those over the holiday period. You don't have to read them all, but
I just wrote them down. So on this document that we will share, they'll all be there. So again, you don't have to write it down. I did just Google why Simon Sinek to learn how to spell his name. So there you are. So those 5 books, I'm sure you can find them online. Down at W or something like that. So last section we have today, and this is where the rubber hits the road in knowing your numbers. So I'm going to go through this. You're going to get a copy. There's a lot of notes on the right-hand side. I'll put comments there for examples. So just knowing how your numbers work and what activity you've got to achieve in order to arrive at that end number. So it starts at the top there, just talking about your commission split between you and your employer. So for many of you, if you're working in an office or a franchise group, you might be getting somewhere 35, 40, 45, 50%, I don't know. But that's I worked for much of my career on 36%. Okay, so your commission split, what steps may be available in that? So, when you achieve a certain gross, your percentage might step up. That could be on an annual basis. It could be monthly. I spoke to one of the local Barry plant agents. They've got steps that they can achieve every month that increase their commission. And then whatever fees may come out. So this might be franchise fees that come off the top and different things. So knowing what your splits are. And then starting to come down with knowing your numbers. So this is about how much you want to earn. What's going to be on your group certificate? We don't get group certificates anymore. They're all in MyGov now. But what's going to be that number that you had as your gross income to yourself? What did you make? So your personal income, and you can see that in this example, I've written there 150,000 personal income. So what percentage of GCI is that 150,000? Is that personal income that's your target? So if you have that calculation, you can see on the right-hand side there, 150 divided by 40%, if that's your split, gives you an answer of 375 of GCI. So, okay, now we're starting to get a little bit of an idea of the amount of work I've got to do this year in order to achieve my target of my 150 grand, if that's my target. You got to know your average dollars per sale. So again, I put this example, 10,000. I think all over the world we use this 10,000.
It's a magical 10,000.
How realistic it is in your market, I don't know. If you're selling $500,000 houses, at 2%, it's 10,000. If you're selling $1 million houses at 1.5%, it's 15,000. So, but you should be able to go back over your year and look at all your authorities or all your commission statements or whatever it is that has that data on it and figure out what the average dollars is. But we're going to use 10,000 for this example. So to get to that 375 at $10,000 per sale, how many sales have I got to make? In this example, 37.5 sales. So how many listings do I have to get? So knowing that, making the acknowledgement that we don't sell everything we list, depending on your market. I'll put
People
in there.
change their minds, the market changes, whatever it is. Grandma gives them 200 grand, so they don't need to sell anymore, or whatever it is.
What did they get back together? Who knows?
Yes, as we hope.
So let's say we sold 90%, could be 95%. It's probably not 70 or 80%. You're probably selling somewhere 90+% of your listings. So if we're selling 90% of our listings, we're going to now list 41.6. So that divided by 12, you can see the calculation there around the 3.5. So now it's how many listings, how many appraisals do I have to do to get those listings? And there's two sorts of numbers that I always struggled with the target around appraisals to listing. Not every appraisal we do goes to market.
Yeah.
I've got hundreds I've done that have never sold, back 27 years. So this is about appraisals that go to market, that number. So if it's, I put there 25% in this example. So if you do 4 appraisals, one of them comes to market, let's say. I don't think it's much more than that. So if you're doing 4 appraisals and 4 of them come to market, oh my God, I don't know who it is you're seeing at every one of these appraisals, but awesome that they're making a decision to go to market every time. But then it's the next number is what's the success rate of those that go to market that you win? Okay, and I've written there 70%. Hopefully for most of you, it's 70% and more. For any agent that's been in the industry for a long time, it should be 80+%, 80, 85. You're not going to get them all. If you do, you're a superstar, but I think 80, 85 for an experienced industry agent in your market for a reasonable amount of time is the target that you should have of those that go to market. So you can see that I've now come down to that, beg your pardon, you'd be able to go through this slowly by yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. So now I've come down to how many.
This is the maths portion. We didn't actually disclose there'd be any maths involved today. So apologies to those of you that it's not your forte.
So what I've come down to in this example is I've got to do 5 appraisals a week to make $150,000 on my group certificate.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a lot of appraisals. 20 a month is a fair whack. How can I change this? And you can think about, you can increase your numbers of sales. You can increase your percentage per, your GCI per sale. If it's to make the 10,000, 11,000, it's going to shift all of this. Yep. You can increase I've written there 70% as your success rate. You could increase that to 80, 85%. It's going to change all of this. All of that's going to reduce the amount of appraisals you've got to do. But that's the calculation. How many people I've got to be in front of inside their house to make X dollars at the end of the year. And knowing those numbers.
I remember the very first time someone sat me down and went through this process of reverse engineering. And then they said to me, look, if you want to make more money, there's only maybe 5 or 6 ways to do that. You got to sell more houses at the same commission. You've got to raise your commission and sell the same number of properties. You got to sell more higher price properties, which would in turn, if you're working on a percentage, you're going to get more money that way. You could do all of those. You could sell more houses that are a higher price with a higher commission rate. You know, all that. You can negotiate a better rate with your employer, you know, or those.
And that's
Well,
the one.
yeah, there's there's only so many levers in the system of being a real estate person that that you can work.
And that's the one, the last one. And whilst all of these sessions that we've done are not an EXP promotion session, this is now the awareness for you if you're watching, that one of the biggies you can change is going to your boss and saying, I want a bigger cut. I did that. Went from 36 to 40. Oh, happy days.
Yeah,
So the opportunity with EXP is you go from where we are now to 75. I've highlighted there, 75% of the first 100, 100% above per annum.
yeah.
That's the nuts and bolts. Not going to talk about that any further. There'll be links there. You all know where we come from. The session is not about that.
Not at all.
But if you're not going to do that, it's one of those other numbers you got to shift.
Got to
And
sell more,
if
which
I
is
said my
easy.
target was 250 grand, not 150 grand, all these numbers move
They just change.
massively. So it's about what you want to earn. I certainly hope that you're making a target for at least $100,000 in doing this job. If you're doing this job full time, Rob, I think that if you're not making more than $100,000,
Are you going to make 100 grand? Like, you know, like it's just that I'm not saying you have to, like whatever your goals are, your goals, and that's fine. But the amount of time that we commit to being available to work in this industry, you're going to spend the time, you might as well get the result anyway. You know, like let's get you to that position where you're a proud real estate professional in your community. You're the rock star in your community. You've done your numbers. Remember Zig Ziglar, the old guy? He said, you'll get everything in life you want if you help enough other people get what they want. This is what we're talking about. The numbers, yes, we're going to pay attention to the numbers in this because obviously this is a goal session for 2025. In real terms, what Tony's talking about is how can I leverage so I can help more people next year? That's what it's all about. It's not what it's in it for me. The money comes as a byproduct from the number of people that you help. You help more people get their goals accomplished, you automatically fulfill your goals. And I don't want us to move away from this session without paying tribute to that. It is coming from a place of service. It's coming from contribution, trying to help people. You know, our founder says we're here to help agents whether they come to EXP or not, you know, and that's the mindset we have in our communities as agents. We're here to help people whether they use us as an agent or not. Chances are they will, but we're just trying to do that, to be just the right people. I always say it's always the right time to do the right thing, you know.
and that's why we're here. You know, we're here to help all agents, EXP or otherwise. And you know, for those of you that have been on many of these sessions so far, you know that that's why we're here. We very rarely mentioned EXP. You can go out and do your own inquiries about that or talk to us privately. But this is about helping you as industry agents improve. Simple as
Yeah,
that, and get the most out of your lives. None of us are getting out of this life alive. So might as well make the most of it. And
absolutely.
if we can help in some small way,
Yep.
and if you guys go and girls go away and go through this later and come up with some goals, you know, I just thrilled by the fact that someone's writing down a goal based on having attended this session.
Absolutely. If you take on board what Tony has said, some of the things that I've said, you refer to the information that we've sent you or we'll be sending you, your life could be radically different this time next year just by making a decision.
Thank
Tony,
you.
any
We've
final
taken up a lot
thoughts?
of your time. We knew we'd be a little bit longer today in this session because it's a bit more than normal, but hope you all got a lot from it. For those that may be on Facebook, I haven't looked to see if there's anyone live there on Facebook. For anyone that's there, you'll all get a recording of the session, copy of the documents. Don't stress out. Don't take notes. It's all coming to you and be available for you. That's it for me.
Perfect.
Have a
We wish you
happy, have a
all
happy Christmas and New Year, and a
yes.
wonderful 2025. For those of you that we don't get to speak to or see in the next couple of weeks before Christmas, have a ripper, and we'll see you all next year.
Great. Take care, guys.